go for a like that kind of MC Hammer comp that can't touch me up the front lines.
You love your can't touch this.
Great.
You patented, and you know what? It is pretty damn great. I will give you that. You patented something that I was pretty damn happy with, and it looks like exactly the first half of the can't touch comes in, but the Volibea instantly from Beishang. This is a little bit of a callback for Beishang. He's very good on these, you know, hard engaged champions that can skirmish, and looks like the side of WWE, they don't want the Thresh. They don't feel comfortable on the Thresh. They're going straight towards the Nautilus.
Yeah, so not interested in going towards the more peel-orientated style, right? Like, you can always go towards the... If you're going to play the Thresh, you want to try and kite back, right? Peel coming through for Jace, Jinx, Zoe, something along these lines, and being able to keep people off the prime target. That's actually what we're more seeing coming through from WE's side, is like, hey, they want to jump onto the prime target with the Nautilus, the Volibea to follow up. So I was actually thinking maybe LGD are the ones that go back towards the Thresh, but instead they're going to take the Leona, so take the more aggressive side of the matchup in that bottom lane, and maybe look to see if they can put some attention down there with Shadow.
Yeah, and this is something that specifically for Beishang as well, looking at the jungle matchup, they have picked this into a couple of different times. You saw it against JinJiao in the summer playoffs last summer in 2021, so it is something he is very familiar with, and now we'll start to see where these bans come out. Getting rid of the Jace, I like this. I would like to see the Gwen banned here by WE. You don't really want to be giving that one over for free unless you have a very good counter into it, but no, they go for the Galio instead.
Strange to see the Galio. So maybe they're just worried, like, oh, we're going to be putting a heck of a lot of attention in towards things like the dive composition. So maybe they're looking at like Camille in the top lane for BiuBiu or something along these lines, and they're just like, we don't want to have that be a problem where the Galio will see it on top of it. Or maybe they're just going to look to ban away these globals, right? Stop LGD being able to put that attention down to the bottom side. Twisted Fate still available. Maybe that's the angle for WE here.
Maybe it is, but I will say Shanks is good on the Syndra, but no, they go with the Gwen. I'm delighted to see that. So we might see the Twisted Fate picked up here, but no, maybe a Fearness Ornn to lock and load here, but that does give a fair bit of freedom now to WE to try and pick something to pick into it. They actually have the run of the mill into what exactly they want to pick into this Ornn now.
I feel like the Camille would be a good shout. Like, good lockup, follow up on the dive that WE already have, and she just takes over in the side lane super well. Means that you've got options here, and even if you go like Twisted Fate Camille, right, like that's an insanely strong top half of the map that you can look to play around.
Well, looks like they're going to see where they want to go for the Orianna for Shanks. Going to be locked and loaded here, so something different for him every single game. Started with the Rise, ended up with the Twisted Fate in the last one. Now he's going to finish off this series with the Orianna. Now, what do you want to take into top lane? You've got an opportunity here to counter pick. You could, as you say, go with the Camille. You could go with a tank yourself and go full investment into the AD carry basket and just go straight towards Xing.
Well, it looks like that's going to be the game plan. Both teams were like, you know what? Last game was all about the AD carries. Let's just double down making this all about the AD carries. This time around, though, much more appeal for Xing. Like, the Jinx is there. Orianna as well, going to provide that late game team fight. Like, this is a crazy strong team fight composition from WE with some great scaling. On LGD side, you have the Aphelios to offer that engage, but yeah, G here. Strange to see the Sylas picked in. Usually, Sylas actually kind of gets pushed in by Orianna and doesn't have the best of ults to try and steal away from the Ori as well, because you just kind of sombrero yourself. So I'm surprised to see the Sylas lock in here. I was thinking something like a Syndra or something may have actually been the follow-up here for LGD.
Now, we'll say BiuBiu not got the best of histories on the Sion as well. Last time we saw play it was in spring of 2022. Actually, before this, it was against Weibo, but again, in terms of before the season was spring 2021. He's currently 1-5 on it, so not really finding great success with that particular champion as of late, but we will wait and see how he's able to make this one work. Has a pretty decent matchup into the Ornn. Neither should really be winning or losing in their lane unless they make some massive mistakes. But now, both compositions locked and loaded. WE still hunting for their first win of the season. LGD looking to try and maybe put themselves a little bit further away from the bottom. Dagda, it's do or die. You gotta win this one now. It's effectively a best of one as we look towards both AD carries to carry these teams to victory. Yeah,
I think you've had a little bit of an easier time here in WE, right? The ability for Shanks to provide kind of that mid-range damage against the Aphelios, like being able to zone him with the Orianna ult, is going to be really crucial. You've just got a longer range as well coming through in the Jinx, so when you need to kind of face check these things, having Xing being able to play certain far back is going to be nice. So I'm kind of giving the edge to WE here, but we'll have to see if they're going to be able to follow that one through.
That's the big thing we got to look at as we jump onto the Rift for the 6th time today. 3rd time in this series and the last time of the day. We wait to see who will come out victorious. For WE fans, you're hoping for the resurrection of Beishong. It's very, very powerful catalyst for this team last season. Looked good in game 1, not so great in game 2. And I think, again, we highlighted it a little bit in game 1. It's all about the junglers. Shadow versus Beishong. Who can have the most impact is what's going to be the difference maker for both these teams.
All comes down to this. Already you can see vision control established in the LGD side, just trying to see if they can spot out some sort of evade that's coming through. Vision in River for WE, trying to see again if they can hit the opposite. As
that was hilarious.
Back into
that is so lucky.
Yeah. But yeah, I think in the early stages, if I remember correctly, Sion actually has a relative, you don't expect it, but Sion has a relatively good matchup into the Ornn. He's got a good amount of damage that can come through. He's got a nice amount of shields and stuff. So I'm pretty sure Sion has a good time against this Ornn, at least in the early stages of the game, before they just become fast tanks and nothing really happens. So I think, at least from WB's side, you can kind of abandon ship on the top side and just see if you can try and play through Kedaya on the spot lane, setting up Xing with some kills, pushing Eric behind, because you know that when it gets towards that late game, Eric's going to be the only one that you really care about.
I love this from both the supports. They both went with the Aftershock rather than the Glacial Augment. They're saying, like, we don't care about the laning phase. We don't care about the early skirmishing power you can get with the Glacial Augment. This is all about survivability and being and engage alongside our tanks. So love this adaptation for both these supports coming into this game. And again, this is the series to make it happen, as we can see both top lane and mid lane pretty even, as bot lane does get pushed in by the Jinx. Again, to be expected given the range matchup.
And I think a lot of that is, as you say, like realizing, look, we're not going to be... A lot of the Glacial Augment power as well as that a lot of people forget is in the damage reduction as well. But when you're playing these style of fights, you're not going to be really connecting onto the back line. Like, maybe you can on LGD side because they're relatively short range, but... Sorry, Beishong just invading onto Shadow here.
I mean, Beishong needs to walk away from this one. JinJiao is there. He's looking to try and maybe steal it, but now with the Nautilus here, going to be a smite fight that does get one up by Shadow. So Beishong now moving back towards this blue buff and should still be able to get a pretty decent invade. And again, the power of a Volibea, very, very powerful as duelist, very, very good in that early game, especially with that W stacking. You get so much healing off of it once you're able to get the first stack of it off. So able to pick that one up. And yeah, there's not really a lot LGD can do about it.
Yeah, and it actually hurts Shadow because JinJiao, if you want to try and clear fast, does burn through his mana relatively quickly. So he won't be able to, as you can see, like, look at his mana bar already, right? He won't be able to burn through this as quickly as he likes. Shanks, though, taking not the best of trades here against the IG.
Wait and see how everything else can go. LGD maybe seeing if they can react to this stolen camp as such. We'll get a couple of chickens, so maybe a couple of chicken nuggets as they go for a bit of a trade. Shadow will end up getting caught out, though, and he might have to flash away. He doesn't even bother because he is dead. You cannot go for that trade. And speaking of trades, now JinJiao on the bot side in a lot of trouble. One more auto attack will take him down, and WE find themselves 2 advantages across 2 different lanes.
And just like that, Shanks being able to flash in to help Beishong, and Kedaya and Xing finally getting the better of Eric and JinJiao. That's not the way you wanted this to go, especially when you look at the bot side of the map. Like, JinJiao with the Aftershock, he's supposed to win that. BiuBiu.
I mean, BiuBiu is getting taken now, 1v1 right now. The flash in from Fearness. This is not the level of gameplay I expected. He flashes away, but only into the waiting arms of Shadow. Thumbs up for the assist, brah. And that is going... What is happening in this game?
How do we get the late game compositions, and now is when we get all the engages? So you see it there, right? Oh, okay, so JinJiao level 2 into the level 3. Just missed timing on the engagement. Great hook from Kedaya, obviously, to get the peel back, but that's how you play this lane is the Nautilus. You're basically a peel bot, with the idea being, hey, look, as long as I hook Leona, I can actually walk away fast enough that Leona can't get the follow-up on the Q for the stun. But in that case, JinJiao, only level 2, didn't have access to the extra armor and magic resist that comes off his W, so W, you're actually able to take him down, especially with no aftershock there for him.
Seeing action all across the maps, flashes, everything being burned so early on, and now still come back into it. It's still 1,000 gold lead or thereabouts for WE. They will have first priority onto this dragon should they want to take it. And honestly, with BeiSheng having the kill before Shadow, meaning that he was able to get his phage off of before he was able to, before Shadow was able to reset to get the real value out of the gold for the kill on top side, means that the dragon is pretty much all said and done, going to be secured by Team WE. So first objective does go over to them, and as LGD now try and find how to make something else work for them, because there's no flash in the Sion, and Sion is not exactly the tankiest in the early stages. They could look to try and just pile in on him and get some more worth in that top side.
I think the best bet though is to try and like play through mid. Like you've got a pretty strong skirmish between Shadow and Yeji, and it's kind of coming along for BeiSheng, especially with the Orianna having that ultimate, but it's still not insane. So especially if you can try and get the play on towards the flashless Orianna, it feels like that's how you can operate here as LGD in the early stages. But with the advantages for Xing in the bot lane, you need to start picking up the pace here as LGD.
Picking up space and picking up pace as everyone starts resetting. We do see another cull. That's how you know the bot lane meta is a little bit boring when AD carries feel confident going with culls. I said BiuBiu might be getting Ornn horned on top of here. He does get the knock up, but BiuBiu will walk away. I've got BeiSheng here, and it's got a little bit of a honey fruit as well. So despite the all-in from Fearness, it is going to be a relatively okay trade for the Sion on top side.
All right, I mean, great job from Fearness. Obviously dominating this matchup against BiuBiu, and now BeiSheng trying to invade with Kedaya, but there's members arriving for LGD.
LGD will be able to steal away the Volibea ultimate as well. The shockwave is still available, and you can see straight away, knowing that Shanks was there and had the ball in position, they have to back away. So Solon, Sylas ultimate not going to equal out into much more of an advantage, and honestly, they go straight back in. Yeah. Deja vu, I've been to this place before, as they kind of make this one work for themselves. Both AD carries very happy to stay in this bot side. Both top laners are saying, sorry, man, we got our 1v1. We got our pride on the line. We are not going to be joining this. It will be used there as a flash away from Shadow, away from the shock wave, but Shanks picked up the first kill, and now Yeji in a lot of trouble. There is the Super Mega Death Rocket off on the side. But yes, you gain a red buff. You lose so much just defending that.
I mean, you lose the red, you end up losing a kill, and Yeji missed that wave in the mid lane as well. So a lot lost there for LGD, and still BeiSheng just invading here, being able to pick up the farm advantage. So really nice understanding again from BeiSheng about how this jungle matchup works and being able to play through the strength of his lanes.
I love that though. Both top and bot just went, all right, it's a 3v3, gentleman's agreement. Don't rotate. It's not worth it. And now we see, you know, where this one can go. BeiSheng being very aggressive into Shadow's face, and we talked about it multiple times. We saw it in Game 1 and Game 2, how pivotal these junglers are to making a success for their team. And with Shadow still pushing forward, still not that far behind, but definitely being bullied a little bit more.
Has moved over towards this Riptail. You don't have the help here from the rest of WE, but BeiSheng needs to be careful JinJiao doesn't engage.
Make sure that he's not caught too far away, and you just got to give this one up. Yeah, they're not really in position. They even had Eric on the bot side rotating up, so it would have been LGD all the way picking up this objective. Even if they went for the fight, it would have been very disadvantaged for WE. So now Riptail in back pocket again. Riptail's great and all, but it's all about how you use it and where you're going to use it. So a little bit of a much more interesting early game, I would say, from the side of both of these teams, considering the first two were very, very slow. But now gotta be very careful, Shanks, or not Shanks, excuse me, Yeji. He's definitely someone who can get 100 to 0'd if he's not too careful.
With no objectives up at the moment, though, it becomes a case of how do WE try and push through this mid lane advantage. They're going to keep trying to go for these invades, but Yeji now moving across up JinJiao. Shadow Force to Smite, though, means that doesn't go the way of Yeji. And you can see the mana issues that are being caused for Yeji here, so maybe giving more wiggle room for Shanks to start making these plays bot side. Yes, we've had, like, like the camera on this, like, wet noodle fight a lot in the top side of the map, but
I mean, they're just scared now in case something happens. They miss it.
We need to start looking at the spot lane. Like, 10 CS lead coming through for Xing, kill as well First item going to be coming through. He needs a Kraken Slayer, honestly, here for Jing, just so we can actually get through the massive tanks that are going to be in Ornn and also this Leona lane.
Yeah, the Kraken Slayer does feel like the only real option. Even the Sylas will have an absolute boatload of health later on in the game, so does end up helping you quite a lot. I'm trying to go for a little bit of a freeze. Does look like it's going to be staying relatively neutral to that mid lane, or to the middle of that lane. 30 seconds till Dragon spawns, so we will either have a Infernal, Mountain, or a Hex Tech, so decent dragons for either side. Looks like WE will have first priority. As you can see now, Shanks pushing forward. Just wants to pick himself up a plate. Will be able to get it. Nicely done by him. And just making sure right now, he's just putting out a lot of poke damage onto Yeji and really just forcing him away. So I don't even think even if LGD wanted to, they could defend against this dragon.
I mean, look, everything from WB has kind of been set up nicely. Push him bot, push him mid. Yeji does have his TP to come back if they want, but as you say, right, Shadow not in position. No real TP for Fearness. So another dragon going the way of WB. And with Cloud Soul already taken off, or Cloud Dragon taken off the board, Ocean gone as well. We have to see what the plan is going to be. I think Hextech Soul could be really nice here for WE, where they've just, there it is. It's just going to be so so good in this auto attack based composition for Shing.
Fearness taking a very unfavorable trade, but while that was going down, Shadow said, look, I'm going to take away some camps, use those hex gates to get myself back to safety, and there's no harm, no foul. So 2,000 gold now favor of WE, as they have got themselves 2 dragons as well, and those dragons have been pivotal for both these teams. We have seen them both win and lose games around that very big dragon pit, as now Fearness taking a very unfavorable trade. He's going to be forced to use the Ornn and his flash. He tries to get the knockout back in. He will be able to get it. BiuBiu in a lot of trouble. Will use his ultimate and flash at the end of it. Not ideal usage of his own summoners there, but it ends up being a trade back there for LGD.
Yeah, BiuBiu definitely looking comfortable in this tank matchup, whereas Fearness feeling way better on this Ornn. Ornn kind of been a staple in the top lane for a significant portion of time. Kind of feels like your gateway into the top side. And at least for the Sion, BiuBiu just not really finding the success thus far. Now you got Chem Tank completed for Fearness. He's trading effective base Shang, trying to see if he can get up here off the TP that's about to come through.
Oh, they are going to go for a base Shang now. Going to find Fearness, who has no ult, no flash, and almost certainly nowhere to go. They're just going to wait and try and maybe donate that one over. I would like to see this one go over to Beishang. They will do just that. So LGD now reacting to that move in the top side will drop down Shelly into the mid lane. Will get themselves about 3 or 4 plates and then have to back themselves away. So now we're into the tit for tat, the push, the pull of the map movements here for both these sides as both teams look to try and find themselves an advantage.
I mean, it's not a huge amount that's going to be lost here from WE, right? That tower was always going to take a beating from the Rift Tail. You lose out on your Raptor camp, at least you got a kill on the top side and some plates back for BiuBiu. Like, BiuBiu turning into a super tank is going to be great, but not really the mainstay focus for WE. Your actual focus is the Kraken Slayer Jinx, the 34 CS until that cull is popped, and just kind of playing it out nice and slow. Especially now that you have the dragons there, like, LGD will come online slightly earlier than LGD because they're running the Sylas and also the Aphelios. But in the grand scheme of things, like, you don't actually have to fight this dragon in 2 minutes. You can buy time for Shing.
Yeah, well, Shing had to use his own cleanse there as he recognized with the Moonlight Vigil available to Eric. He could just get flashed on, and Gale Forced as well could be just straight up executed. 2.5 minutes till that dragon spawns. It is still about 1,000 gold lead in favor of WE. Both AD carries have picked up their core mythic items as well as the junglers. So we can wait to see now. It's actually Shanks a little bit ahead now, about 20 CS or so, quietly farming up a decent lead. And this Orianna could be key, could be pivotal to keeping this Jinx alive. The command protects, the shockwaves, the disengage. Could be a lot of options here. And speaking of options, BiuBiu ranking up his own options right now and saying, look, I don't want to fight you right now. I'm done with this wet noodle fight. I want to get some real noodles.
And, I mean, as well, looking at these team fights, you got great ball delivery systems coming through for Shanks as well, right? If BiuBiu finds a good engage, wonderful. Beishang, the more likely candidate, where he just launches himself in onto Eric and you get the stun into a shockwave. It becomes pretty difficult for Eric to play these fights. He's going to have to be pretty on point with the cleanses as Beishang once more trying to invade off of this mid lane push.
Whoa, okay, Shadow goes very aggressive because he knows he has the protection of his Leona, and they're going to be able to take down Beishong straight away, and now the Ornn can come out. Call of the Forge God is good, but it's only onto Shanks. You got to be careful coming down this little ramp. As you can see, the shockwave might be huge. They're going to go for it. There it is. They finally get the Orianna down, but here come the reset. One more auto attack there, and there's the Jinx going as hard as they possibly can. Perfect use of the slam down to get themselves over to the wall, and that's going to be 2 quick kills going over to Xing. He's doing so much into this game, and he's already getting himself ahead.
I mean, the fact that they managed to get those kills is insane. It looked so bad for WE, but Shanks, with his own death going across, manages to get the perfect shockwave to set up WE for the skirmish.
Have a look at the replay once it comes back in, but let's have a look at how this one starts. Because again, this is 4v5 because Beishong just dies.
Yeah, and I mean, look, he has the ultimate there, thinks I'm going to get more health, but pops up into the air and he just dies the second that ultimate pops, so doesn't even really get to use it. And then here, right, Fearness not really connecting with that Ornn. Everyone's diving on towards the backline to try and kill Xing, but shockwave onto 3 people there for Shanks, and now we're back into fights.
We are back into fights. JinJiao very close to death right now. Looking for him. There is no Jinx ultimate, but that's 3 seconds to this dragon spawns. That's going to put WE on soul point. You're now looking at such a massive advantage here for WE. They're going to have such an early soul. It's going to be about 21 minutes. It's actually insane.
And it's 3 kills apiece for Shanks, 3 kills for Xing as well. Like, these 2 mega carries for WE have been accelerated as BiuBiu finds company.
Finds a bit of company. He is a very tanky boy. As now he gets another very tanky boy joining him in there, and they're going to have Xing as well, so maybe it's going to be a bit of an extended fight as Eric tries to find himself onto the backside. They will use the Moonlight Vigil and actually flashes forward, trying to find Xing. Perfect aggression from Eric and gets out alive. Massive move from him. Massive play from the AD carry of LGD and keeps this one going in their favor.
I don't know what BiuBiu's doing this game. Like, the fact he's on the Rift Herald there doesn't make any sort of sense. You just need to play these fights nice and slow, front to back for WE. You already had the advantages. You got that dragon. It's fine given across the Rift Herald. Like, you're not playing split push compositions. The power of this Rift Herald drops dramatically in that sense. But WE still end up trying to fight it, and it ends up giving kills over to LGD.
Gotta give props to Eric as well, because he recognized he was in a relative 1v1 against the Jinx, and in a 1v1 with the guns he had, he was just stronger. He knew he could get the execution off, and just picking up so much damage and getting that shutdown is going to be huge for him in the later fights. It is still an advantage to LGD. It's only a couple of 100 gold. They will have to fight in 4 minutes time around the, around this Baron pit, or sorry, Dragon pit. But they have got items, they have got gold, and then more importantly, they've got kills on the big carries.
Edgy hiding in the bush here, trying to see if he can pick off Shanks. The movement across from both JinJiao and Shadow, though, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Leona and the Dana are here. They're going to be able to try and find Beishong. TB going to be invested as well. Shanks trying to maybe find himself out of here. Beishong flashes away. Will not be able to get away from the Ornn, though, as the brothers end up fighting. As I say that, here comes the train. Beishong, how do you survive that? Oh, no, it's terrible. It's a disaster for LGD. WE are just turning straight back on top of them. And you get 1, you lose 3, you might even lose 4. This is just desperation. How did that happen, Dagda?
That engage from BiuBiu saved it all. Beishong managed to survive for so long with that Divine Sunder healing, and suddenly, just like that, 5 kills onto Xing, 4 onto Shanks, and we thought that LGD might be able to fight WE, push WE to their next loss in spring 2022, but WE are saying to hell with that. We want this game.
Oh my god, let's have a look at BiuBiu, because he teleports so far away, and you can see WE, they all focus, or sorry, LGD, they all focus down onto Beishong. I need to see that replay, because how does he end up getting away? I don't understand how his health bar doesn't go. He seems to be on like about 50 HP for so long.
So we get the engage coming through here, where it's a nice idea from both Shadow and JinJiao, right? Wrap in behind, completely cut them off. There's the instant TP as well coming through from the Ornn, so you think this is a disaster, but Beishong manages to just about eke away from everyone, and there's just no range here. So when people are chasing them down, they just line up perfectly for BiuBiu. The shot down the line sets up perfectly for the double ult coming through from both the Orianna and the Jinx. Eric is completely out of position, and WE just chase them down.
Oh, LGD, you looked like it was going to be great. It looked like you were going to get those staggered death timers, get yourself back on top, look to try and make this game yours. And sadly for them, it's just not to be. Shanks very valiantly gives over his life in that fight, but does get the damage down that he needs to do, puts down a little bit of shielding as well. And coming up in a minute and a half, you've got double stopwatches. Importantly, there's a stopwatch for Xing and Shanks. Not only that, you have full summoners on Xing as well. So he's going to be so safe to be able to keep himself alive if they can keep him away from all these different carries of LGD.
Dragon in a minute though. You've got the lower dominance for guard completed for Xing. He just took a massive step up in damage, especially to the front line. Shanks are only just about completing the Archangel Staff. Wants to see if he can try and evolve that before it comes into it. But mid lane tower under siege. WE are fine to tank that one up.
I mean, you don't have flash on Eric. I really don't see how you're able to kind of contest this right now. You're going to have to be so tentative approaching this side of the lane, and anywhere that's not controlled by your vision, you just cannot step up. The Nautilus, the Volibea, the Sion, anyone could get to CC down onto you, and you are just finished. We see now WE trying to corral the side of LGD. They will catch the G, and he's forced to use his own stolen Volibea ultimate. The Ornn comes out, the Crescent Guard as well. They're jumping onto the tanks though. Look at Xing, look at Shanks. They're just not touched in this as Eric now gets jumped on, and he has to cleanse away. Xing trying to chase him down, but it's already got the Xin Zhao dead. Great hooks in and out of this fight. WE still pushing forward. WE still looking for kills, and WE still looking fantastic. They don't even need the soul. They can go for Baron.
They're just running straight for it. Words that they know that their team fight is just so damn strong, and with the Baron, they can now look to siege up. LGD, their wave clear is terrible. This could be one of the big nails in the coffin for this LGD squad in the series. G moving across to just take the dragon as a small consolation prize, but the bigger one has gone the way of WE.
It really has. Eric will come over here to help him out with it. You do have double TP. I doubt I say that. I might have to stop myself. They get the dragon, but can they get out alive? Here comes Shanks. They got the super mega death rocket going right between the sticks. G will get himself out. I thought it was going to be a double TP. I would have maybe been a bit more excited, but you still stop the dragon stacking, but LGD now so far behind.
And look at the difference in AD carries, right? Xing completely untouched on this side. G forced to take this fight, but Eric can't really get into this fight. Beishang is sitting off over the wings, waiting to jump in on top of him. He's only hitting BiuBiu. There's so much CC that's constantly coming back and forth, and the second you move in as Eric, you get the depth charge, you get the ultimate coming through from the Volibea, and Xing's just completely fine to keep running through this fight, hitting onto key targets the whole time.
I think that was the big thing. Apart from the Volibea, he got maybe like one auto attack off on his Moonlight Vigil. Like, normally in those situations, that's perfect for an Aphelios. You have so much AoE that can come into such a small corridor, and now 8,000 gold behind. You're really, really struggling here as LGD. WE, they're feeling confident. They're feeling the momentum. This could be their first win of the split, but they've got to keep it together. One small mistake, and this could bring LGD right back into it.
WE waiting for this Congo line to come through. Beishang getting set up on the sides. As long as BiuBiu's in the front line, there's not really much that LGD can do to try and find this engage. Fearness pops down the Q, but no follow-up there.
It's risky there from G going in for the depth charge ultimate seal. Nearly gets himself caught out as they get pushed in now towards their next, the inhibitor turrets. They still haven't cracked the base just yet, but they have no outer turrets left. It's just the inhibitors, and then of course their nexus. Here comes BiuBiu. Choo all the way back into the mid lane, but now we go. The solar flare going to be instantly cleansed away. They use the Moonlight Vigil. Xing flashes off the side. Now he's left completely untouched. They can maybe look to try and get the resets here. There's one. They're going to get another one. The Nautilus has been traded for the Leona. It's about these 80 carries. Look at Eric. Look at Xing. They're trying to make sure they can keep themselves alive. These health bars are so low. It's the 80 carries. That was massive. Huge play from Shadow, comboing up with Fearness, and now Eric feels confident to move forward. Xing, though, will be taken down. The Aphelios falls at the end as the 80 carries have dropped, and at the end of it all, the 80 carries were the focus, but they are not the reason they're winning this fight. WE should be able to take the game.
Bloody battered and bruised, WE will limp their way towards the base. Baron is still available so they can take down this inhibitor, but 20-second death timers, I don't think they can finish. JinJiao is still here, but that fight was just played on a knife's edge.
see the AD carries, Eric and Shing just trying their best, nothing left in the tank, and at the end of it all, you still forget, WE are still miles ahead. It's not just in the AD carries, but let's have a look at the replay, because this was such an extended fight.
Yeah, the big thing to note here, Shing has actually gone for the GA third item, so not going for the Zeal, just looking to keep his survivability. So when he gets jumped on this fight, he's perfectly all right. So Eric doing his damnedest, great shockwave, keeping Shadow out of the equation with G. And then this is why Shing is playing so aggressive. He knows that in this situation, if I go down, I'll have the respawn. So although it looks wonderful, right? Shing just pops into GA. Shanks has the stopwatch. Shanks goes over the wall. So Shing even here is still getting a ton of damage off right before he goes down and sets up beautifully for BiuBiu. Again, that last-ditch effort from the Sion to provide the CC to set up WE.
Well, come back into the game. LGD have still survived, but their now inhibitor, mid lane inhibitor is down. We come back into the game, minute 20 until Dragon spawns. Both teams using pretty much everything they possibly had. Eric will have his cleanse available because he lost it at an inopportune time before that fight. And now we come back into the fight. It is going to be a stopwatch available for Shing, so he has that in his own back pocket as we now see LGD feeling a bit more confident. I will say you've got 3 items on the edge. The Sylas pick is very, very big. If you can land a Kingslayer or 2, it should do a lot of work. There's the Crescent Guard going to be used, though, as Shadow needs to keep himself alive. The Ornn comes out to try and stop Shing, but it goes right between the sticks. 4-man knockup, but they keep pushing forward. Shing is untouched. Shing can keep doing it. Shanks and Shing, who pick up the 2 kills apiece. It'll be a full house, trips upon dubs, and that's going to be the game. It's a triple kill for Shanks. WE will break their losing streak, and WE will finally pick up a win in LPL 2022 Spring.
And yes, you might beat WE 6 times, but nobody beats WE 7 times in a row, as WE with this play will find themselves taking home their first win.
Return of Beishong, it's a glorious moment for WE. They will get themselves on the board. Will finally get a win. 1-6. It's not much, but it's a start, Dagda.
Hey, every story starts with a sentence, and every streak starts with 1 win. We'll have to see if this is possible for WE, because it